Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we help you, the learner, get that extra edge. Today, we're doing more than just skimming. We're really digging into the core ideas from Cal Newport's book, Deep Work. So, what if I told you there's maybe just one habit that could genuinely change your productivity? And maybe even how you feel about your work?
That's exactly it. It's called deep work.
Yeah.
Newport defines it pretty clearly.
Yeah.
It's when you're doing professional stuff, but in this state of total concentration, no distractions. And these aren't easy tasks. They're the ones that push your brain, really stretch your cognitive limits. The result, you create genuinely new value, you get way better at what you do, and maybe most importantly, it's stuff that's really hard for someone else to just copy.
Okay, yeah.
It's absolutely vital for mastering hard things fast, and honestly, for performing at a truly elite level.
Yeah.
He boils it down to a formula, actually. High quality work produced, time spent multiplied by intensity of focus.
Time spent times intensity of focus.
Exactly. And, that intensity part, that's where most people, well, they miss the boat. They focus on putting in the hours, the time spent, but neglect the focus intensity.
Which leads to long days, but maybe not much real progress.
Precisely. Lots of motion, not much meaningful output.
Okay, that distinction is huge. So if deep work is so powerful, why does it feel like it's vanishing? Why is it so rare today?
It's a great question. And the answer largely boils down to all these network tools we're surrounded by. Email, Slack, social media, they carve up our attention into these tiny little fragments. Newport calls them slivers.
Slivers, right. Little
Okay.
ineffective chunks of time.
Yeah, exactly. We're just constantly interrupted. And this pushes us towards what he calls shallow work.
Okay, shallow work. What's that exactly?
It's the stuff that doesn't really demand much brain power,
Yeah.
logistical things, admin tasks, quick emails, stuff you can do while distracted.
Right.
But the real kicker, the thing that really hurts deep work, is something called attention residue.
Attention residue.
Yeah. When you switch from task A to task B, your brain doesn't just instantly switch. There's a residue of attention still stuck on task A.
So even when you try to focus on the new thing, part of your mind is still back there.
Exactly. It's like your mental RAM is clogged.
Yeah.
You can't fully load the deep task you need to focus on. Plus, there's this whole culture, isn't there? This idea that being busy means you're productive.
Oh, definitely. Looking busy is sometimes valued more than, well, actual results.
Visible activity trumps real, valuable output. It actively discourages deep work.
That really paints a picture of the challenge. I mean, I feel that pull constantly, the urge to just quickly check something when I know I should be focusing. So for everyone listening who feels that same struggle, how do we start to, fight back? How can we rewire our brains for this deep work thing?
Well, the really encouraging thing is that intense concentration, it's not fixed. It's absolutely a skill. You can train it.
Okay, so it's trainable, like a muscle.
Precisely. And Newport's core strategy here is, it's a bit counterintuitive but powerful. Don't take breaks from distraction. Instead, take breaks from focus.
Breaks from focus, how does that work?
It means you schedule your distractions. You decide, all right, I'm going to check email and social media at noon and again at 4 p.m. And outside those specific scheduled times,
You avoid them completely.
you're intentionally building your ability to resist the lure of the shallow. You can also train focus using what he calls productive meditation.
Productive meditation while meditating.
Not quite. It's focusing intensely on a single specific professional problem while you're physically occupied, but mentally free, like when you're walking, jogging, maybe even showering.
Ah, okay. Using that downtime to focus deeply on one thing.
Yes. And another, maybe slightly unusual technique is using structured activities just to build that attention muscle, like memorizing a deck of cards.
Memorizing cards, seriously.
Yeah, like Daniel Keeloff he mentions. It sounds odd, but activities like that directly train your ability to hold focus, to build attentional control.
Wow. Okay, so define deep work, understand why it's rare, start training the brain. That productive meditation idea is quite interesting, a way to reclaim focus. But, okay, let's get practical. We're rewiring our brains, but how do we fit this into, the real world with deadlines and meetings? How do we actually drain the shallows out of a busy day?
Right. The implementation. Newport gives some very concrete methods. First, he suggests scheduling every single minute of your day.
Every minute. That sounds intense and maybe unrealistic.
It sounds rigid, I know.
Yeah.
And he admits you'll probably revise the schedule constantly throughout the day. But the point is you're making a conscious decision about how your time is spent rather than just reacting to whatever comes up.
Okay, so it's about intentionality, even if the plan changes.
Exactly. Second, Embrace what he calls fixed schedule productivity. This is where you set a firm end time for your workday, say 5 p.m., no exceptions.
Finish at 5 p.m., period.
Yes. And then you work backward from that deadline. It forces you to prioritize the deep work, to fit it in because the time is finite. He mentions Radhika Nagpal, a professor who used this to excel and have family time.
Working backward from a fixed end time, that creates urgency for the important stuff.
It really does.
Yeah.
And finally, manage your communication. Use sender filters. Basically, make yourself a little harder to reach by default.
Don't be available 2047.
Right. And when you do communicate, especially email, use a process-centric approach. Put all the necessary information, all the potential next steps into your message up front. The goal is to minimize that back and forth, kind of close the loop in one go if possible.
Get everything needed in there, so ideally, no replies even needed, or just a simple confirmation.
Precisely. Drain those shallow communication cycles.
So when you put it all together, cultivating deep work isn't just about getting more done at work, is it? It sounds like it's really about leading a more, meaningful life, taking back control.
Absolutely. It's about controlling your most valuable asset, your attention. And think about it. The kind of focus someone like Bill Gates had early at Microsoft. That obsessive deep work.
Yeah.
That's not some magic ability only geniuses have. Newport argues it's a skill, a powerful skill that's accessible to you right now.
Yeah.
So the real question for you listening is, what steps will you take, maybe even today, to start embracing this, to build your own Bowling tower, that quiet, dedicated space for your most important thinking in this very noisy, distracted world?